Crime doesn't pay, but in D&D, maybe it should. Welcome creators, I am Holistic Dungeon Master and I help DMs master their craft with helpful videos like this one where we figure out how to make encounters with the law fun, engaging, and yes, even rewarding while still teaching our players that the law is not to be trifled with. If you're enjoying my content so far, then please like the video, crit the subscribe button and notification bell. Now let's get rolling. I messed up bad during my first ever campaign. The party had been committing mostly small crimes for a good chunk of it, as most parties do, you know, the likes of intimidation, minor theft, assault, and the occasional murder. Par for the course for the average D&D party, I reckon. But that all changed during one fateful session. The party were caught red-handed trying to pry information from an esteemed member of the nobility. They were surrounded by guards, they were unambiguously guilty, and I had no clue what to do next. Should I arrest them? What if they try and fight a dozen guards all at once? What happens if they're just sitting in jail afterwards if they go peacefully? Is the game just over? My head was kind of frying with possibilities, none of which seemed or sounded very fun or engaging for my players. So, rather lamely, I admit, I let them get away with it with a persuasion roll of 13. Look, I know, but I really didn't know what else to do. I was woefully underprepared for this. And because of this, the party were encouraged, well, to do more crimes. Why wouldn't they? They'd learned from that previous encounter that they could probably just talk or schmooze their way out of most situations involving the law, and it was all my fault. The crimes got more and more brazen until I decided that, finally I had to do something about this, right? I had to show them that the law is not to be trifled with. So I spent a bit of time cooking up a formula to ensure that being taken in by the law and being punished for their crimes would be fun, engaging, and yes, even rewarding alongside the consequences incurred. I made crime pay in my D&D sessions, but not in the way you might think. Let me show you. Before we get into the video any further, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to my Patreon subscribers. I really appreciate the support you're giving this channel, and it will help me make better content in the future. More info about how you can support the channel at the end of the video. First and foremost, learn from my egregious error. For heaven's sakes, prepare for a potential arrest. I didn't. It sucked. Think about the process. What happens if they decide to go quietly? What happens if they don't? A TPK via some town guards, it's pretty lame, honestly, in my opinion. It should be from a dragon or a beholder or an owlbear even, just, not some town guards. Speaking of these town guards, they will try to subdue the party and take them in to meet Tears, justice, depending, if you're playing the Forgotten Realms, right? They will try to subdue, not kill. In most scenarios. Maybe there's a potential escape route for the party. Even if they are successful though, they will at that point be fugitives from the law, and that comes with significant inconveniences for them. Think about where they are taken if they're arrested. Is there a trial? Can they use their skills and connections maybe to nab a more lenient sentence? Where are they incarcerated and what other criminals might they encounter there? Whatever the process, ensure that your parties have agency and chances to influence each step of it in some way. What you don't want is a lengthy description of them kind of in chains and being taken to the jailhouse and listening to a boring trial and sentencing and then taken to the dungeon where escape isn't very feasible. There are opportunities to roleplay with the guards, barristers, lawyers, other criminals, etc., etc. There could be secrets and clues that they learn from these people that is connected with the party's main goal. Very interesting now, right? Being taken in by the law. Make the process an adventure instead of just a dull process. With this arrest should come consequences, of course, but because we are running Dungeons and Dragons, you should also lace and sprinkle the experience with tantalizing opportunities and possibilities. Your creativity and your beautiful DM minds are the limit here, as always, of course, but let's just explore a few excellent opportunities for fun and adventure. Let's start with an obvious one, escape. Maybe it's on the way to the jailhouse, a chance encounter with an alley while the paddy wagon stops to feed the horses. Maybe their jail cell or dungeon is a puzzle that can be solved to escape into the sewers and beyond. What if some shady and powerful organization stages a breakout for the party with many strings attached? And if your party is into it, maybe they want to roleplay. I've had a group like this. They wanted to roleplay and use their skills to defend themselves in court, right? That was a whole segment of our session. They loved it. Your party could influence their sentence and be sent to maybe a lower security facility. You could also turn their incarceration into a whole multi-session mini adventure, right? In the dungeon, in the jailhouse, whatever. The inmates could have their own hierarchy, politics, and mysteries that the party could engage with, navigate. Maybe they could gain allies, gain enemies, and maybe they can plan ways to escape. Maybe it's a riot, maybe it's a breakout. Possibilities are endless, as always. It's the great thing about this game. The possibilities are endless, and for each of you, you will all have different ideas. Comment them down below, perhaps, if you can think of some right now. Also, maybe now that I'm thinking about it a little more deeply while I'm recording this and reading the script, maybe the guards are corrupt and the party can use that to their advantage. Or maybe there's this kind of push-pull, maybe it's in the benefit of both parties and there's elements of mistrust there. It could be dramatic and fun and engaging. Now, these are just some possibilities, but whatever wonderful scenario you cook up in here, just ensure that your party don't go through all of this for nothing. How anticlimactic would it be for the party to escape from their sentence? You know, they go through all of this stuff, they interact with the prison, the justice system, maybe it takes up an adventure, maybe it takes up many. What if at the end of all this, then, they're just back to square one, right where they started, right where they left off before they were taken in by the authorities? It will have all felt like a pretty big waste of time, wouldn't it? I keep saying this on this channel, but it bears repeating again and again and again until it is second nature. When you're running and preparing your sessions, whenever something happens during a session, it should always serve a purpose to the narrative. What purpose that is exactly can be explored by Storybeats. You'll see a link to the video I have on that right there. So when your uncouth party of rascals commit crimes, they should be rewarded for it. Yes, you heard me right, and I can now hear you through this device, through this ether of the internet. I can hear you now exclaiming, won't they just commit more crimes then? Won't they commit more crimes if they are rewarded for doing so? Yes, they will, if these rewards come without consequences. We'll discuss those consequences in the next part of the video, but for now, just understand that every adventure your party goes on should be laden with rewards at the end. And your arrests should be written as mini adventures. Here are just some examples of the rewards your party could gain from this experience, this encounter with the law, right? The long arm of the law. They could learn some very important piece of information that moves the narrative of their current goal that they were working on before they were arrested forward. Very useful now, isn't it? Being arrested. They could make some very useful connections also with the guards, lawyers, judges, criminals, and criminal organizations, etc., 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 that could aid them in this goal in their quest, or even just their backstories. Maybe they find someone that they were looking for incarcerated with them, just completely by chance, and they find them in there. They could be traditionally rewarded, right, with gold and magic items, perhaps promised for helping break someone out of prison, or taking another inmate out for a corrupt guard with a deadly grudge. Again, let your creativity run wild and free with rewards, but we need to gently, oh so gently encourage our party not to commit any further atrocities lest the whole campaign devolve into murder hoboism. How do we do that? Well, these rewards come with strings attached, significant ones. We must temper these rewards with consequences. Escaping from the law, for example, comes with some pretty obvious downsides, right? They're now wanted criminals. Can't move freely anymore unless they're discovered and arrested again, right? That would suck. They may need help from some dodgy characters or shady organizations. Maybe they need new identities, right? They might get drawn into the criminal underworld just from, contacting it. Many merchants might know they're criminals and maybe they don't do business with them. Maybe they completely narc on them if they try to. Maybe they have been busted out by the people who really run this town. Their criminal acts are wiped clean from the slate, but now they are obligated to do these people's dirty work. Maybe they negotiate in trial a very lenient sentence in court, but now they are under heavy scrutiny by the law and can no longer travel freely. What if they escape? This is a pretty painful one, right? But what if they escape and they are unable to retrieve all of their gear? Maybe the escape route took them away from the guardhouse, or maybe they couldn't find their stuff. They're free now, but they're missing all of their good items, right? This is a heavy blow to any party. The whole point of all this is so that you can feel completely confident when your party does something very, very illegal. You don't let them get away with murder. You show them that their actions sometimes have very unpleasant consequences, but you make the whole process fun and engaging and rewarding for them. You make it an adventure and you never again dread your party's future encounters with the law. Your party will see that crime does pay, but not without consequence. But who are some of these characters the party might meet during their incarceration? Well, I've written a bunch of system-neutral, story-focused, archetypal NPCs with no stats or mechanics. You can plop them into any game or system that you're running that your party will resonate on a deep and almost subconscious level. Which means you can populate your justice system, guardhouses, and jailhouses with compelling NPCs. I'm giving it away for free and you'll find it down in the description below. Also down in the description, you will find the link to my community Discord server, so hop in there, we can hang out, discuss the game, and meet other DMs and players who love D&D and who love talking about and discussing the game. You've heard a lot from me, now I want to hear from you. In fact, we all do. Please get typing down in the comments below and let us know what are the potential rewards you could give your party if they have an unfortunate run-in with the law. What consequences come attached to them, and how will you make this process fun and engaging for your players? Let us know so we can all foster this community of DMs who help each other hone their craft. If you've watched this video so far, then you are the DM that I make these videos for, someone who is truly dedicated to becoming the best DM that they can be. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Please like the video, share it with another DM who you think is stressing out about your party getting arrested. For those of you wishing to support the channel further, you will find a link to my Patreon. You can subscribe there and you can really have an input to what content gets made on this channel. But in the meantime, crit the subscribe button and notification bell, and remember that this world needs good DMs.